Hello chess folks, welcome back. In this video, we are going to analyze the game played between the strongest chess engines in the world. And the average rating of these chess engines is 3667, which is beyond human capabilities. So basically, we are going to analyze the game played by two engines, which is Stockfish 17 and Leela Chess. Okay, so you are basically going to get an idea how engines play chess and how insane can it be. So if you wanna see some high class chess, like beyond even Magnus Carlsen capability, this is the best place you have come for. So I don't want to waste any further time. This game was played today as on 7th of January 2025. So let's check it out. So we have Stockfish playing with white. So what happened? Both the engines are given a position and one engine plays the game with the white side and one engine plays the game with the black side. So the position gave both engines were d4, knight f6, c4, c5, d5, e5, knight to c3, d6, e4, we have the Benoni, bishop e7, g3, short castle, bishop to g2, a6, a4, knight e8 with the idea of f5 of course, knight to e2, and now we have knight to d7. So till here, this particular position was given both engines, and now from here on, the engines have to continue the game. So after knight to d7, Stockfish playing with white decided to continue the game with short castle. But before I start the game, I want to discuss about this particular position. So currently the structure is closed in the center. Black wanted to play b5, but white simply stopped it via a4. And now black's only idea is to somehow get this f5 in, trying to open up this f file. And also white is also having the same idea of short castling in the position and playing the move f4 and maybe some kind of launching a kingside attack. So like already black is not really having so much space first of all, and his all pieces are kind of locked in, whereas white is having more space and his pieces are having much more flexibility. So Stockfish continued with short castle, b6 with the idea of maybe developing the bishop into h1 by Stockfish. I don't know what is the idea. You have not developed the bishop or the queen, you are first moving the king. Rook to b8, queen goes to d3, defending both the pawns, or maybe some sort of stopping b5, though it was not really coming in, or maybe even stopping some sort of f5. So I think queen d3 is kind of a flexible move. Rook to b7, so okay, putting the rook on the 7th rank maybe in the future the rook can slide onto the king side somehow. Knight g1, so basically Stockfish is like, okay, the knight was not really doing anything on e2, so it's better to pull it off, and maybe the knight could be better placed on f3 or h3, who knows. g6, bishop goes to h6, attacking the rook. The knight have to come on g7, and now we have f4 by Stockfish, so already some sort of a progress. And talking from human perspective already, though it doesn't really matter because engines are playing. So after f4, it's already pretty good for white because white is going to get all his pieces into the game. He's having more space on the queen side, on the king side. He's having more space in the center. Black pieces are all clumsy, having not enough space in the position to continue the game. So if any human is playing with the black side, it's already like he would have already been crushed. After f4, we have e4, gf4, knight to f6, and now Stockfish played a strange move, which is bishop to h3. And I don't really get an idea, like this bishop is doing a good job protecting this particular king. This bishop have not really moved a square, and like there is no good destination for the bishop to go away. White is playing the move bishop to h3 to trade off this useless bishop for this strong bishop. I came to a conclusion, which is, okay, so basically black's idea is to put the knight to g4 to attack the bishop. I personally thought that can white continue the game via rook e1, getting all the pieces into the play, knight to g4 attacking the bishop, and now white have to capture the knight, takes, and now e5. To me, to any human, it makes sense to continue the position. You are having more space in the center, but I believe engines are like, okay, now black is having the bishop pair, so some sort of an advantage to continue the game via bishop f5, but we can play bishop e4. Now trading the bishop even makes much more sense. Bishop goes back according to the engine's best move. And now e6, it's already like a very strong position to continue with the white pieces. But I think maybe Indians can defend this. I don't know. But any human can't really defend the position, because if you take, this is like black is completely destroyed in the position. Okay, we have bishop x3 and now rook e8. Okay, black is like, okay, I'm also not trading off the bishop. So if he takes, I think queen s3 kind of takes away the g4 square, and now just rook e1, e5 looks strong for black, or for white. Instead, we have rook e8. Black is like, okay, let me continue my development. Queen to f3, queen coming to f3. Once again, maybe stopping some sort of a knight g4, I don't know. Knight to h5. Maybe some sort of f5 idea finally, or maybe bishop coming to f6, which makes a lot of sense. f5 by white, not allowing black to play f5, playing f5 by himself. And okay, there could be some ideas now. Though the dark squares are extremely weak, so black decided to put the bishop on f6. Rook to e1. So now finally, white has got all his pieces into the game. His both rooks, his knights, his bishops. He's having all pieces on the king side, with the one intention to checkmate the black king. Bishop to d4. The position is extremely complicated because many pieces are hanging on the board. We're putting the bishop at the best square, I believe. Rook to e2. Maybe the idea could be to put the rook to g2, attack some sort of king side attack. And now we have queen to e7. Maybe stopping the e5 ideas, I don't know. Bishop goes to c1. And now, like, something strange happened. I don't really understand what is going on. Bishop c1, king h8 and bishop d2. What is this? What in the world are these two Indians playing? I think in this particular position, both the Indians are not really having any particular idea how to continue the position. So they are just making waiting moves. Bishop c1. I believe the idea was to play some sort of a b3, bishop b2. But then after king h8, Stockfish realized maybe it's better to put the bishop on d2. And now bishop to d7 and b3. So if the bishop would have been c1, the knight would have still been protected by the queen. But okay, we have king to g8. So black is also like, okay, let me play king h8, king g8. I'm actually having way more time. So both the Indians are making some random moves, some waiting moves, asking opponents, how do you are going to continue the game. We have rook to e1. Once again, a strange move, pulling back the rook. I believe the rook was doing a nice job on e2, but maybe the idea could be to pull back the knight to e2. Maybe, I don't know. Bishop goes to e5, queen goes to g2, rook goes to f8, and now knight goes to d1. I think after rook e1, the knight should go to e2, but knight goes to d1. Okay, once again, strange move. And now b5. Leela is like, okay, white is having all his pieces on the king side, so it's a perfect opportunity for me to break on the queen side. We have a massive trade on the queen side. And now white is like, okay, now I'm going to play something like now or never. White has got all his pieces on the king side, and black is like, okay, maybe I could get some pieces on the queen side and try to launch some sort of an attack or something. Rook to b8. So Leela is trying to play on the queen side. Stockfish is trying to play on the king side. We have knight to d3 attacking the bishop. The bishop goes to e8, trying to defend all the light squares. Knight goes to f3, rook to b3, and we have a final minor piece trade. And now bishop to g4. f6, I think f6 makes a lot of sense. You are trying to give maximum space to your light square bishop and trying to cover all the dark square weaknesses by putting a pawn on it. So bishop to h6, rook to b6, rook to g1, knight to f4, and now we have queen g3. Like any human would have thought, okay, let me take this, because the knight on f4 is already some sort of a monster. So it is a very human to take this, because the bishop is actually not doing anything. So like human wise, I think takes and playing e5 is already a very strong move, because after it takes knight into e5, and you won't believe it, but the best move in this position is to play g5. What the hell is g5? White is having two pass pawns. White is having this open e file. There could be some sort of a discovery, I don't know. I can move my bishop and the pawn is hanging. Like, I don't know what black is trying to achieve over here. Like, human wise, I think this is completely winning for white. In the game, we have queen g3, Stockfish trying to keep the pieces on the board, knight to h5, allowing even knight h5, queen to h4, king goes to h8, rook goes to a1. So now Stockfish is like, okay, I'm having the a5. Rook goes to b8, goes to 6th rank, rook 6th rank, and we have a rook trade. And now we have one more pawn trade. We have one minor piece traded, and now knight to d2. So the conclusion of Stockfish in this particular position here is white's kind of fine. Both the players are having opposite color bishops, but the knight is doing a fantastic job. I think the knight is the hero of this game, which defends the c4 pawn and also the e4 pawn. And actually this knight is also defended by this bishop. So now it somehow makes sense why this bishop did not took the knight on f4 in the past, which is completely insane. We have queen to a2, a7, h2. Okay, now this is completely mind-blowing. I don't know what to say. Queen to 8, a7, and here, like, there could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, four pieces movement, but instead Stockfish decided to play the move h3. What is the idea of h3? You can even think of some sort of a pawn sacrifice by playing e6, d6, but what in the world is h3? Like, that is why at the start of the video I told you guys you're going to see some insane chess today. So after h3, you won't believe, like, from this moment onward the game is only going to get crazier. So h3, rook to b8, king to h2. What? King h2? Like, what in the world is king h2 doing? I think Stockfish is like, okay, the king on a light square, it makes sense to put the king on the dark square. Black is like, okay, I'm also not really having anything to do, I'm going to shuffle up my pieces. And rook to g2, like, okay, I don't know, like, the pieces were like this, and now the pieces are like this. We have queen to a3, queen goes to g4, the queen goes to a6, the queen enters, and now we have a couple of moves played by the opposition, played by the engines, and now Stockfish decided to repeat the possession. Queen e7, queen v7, queen e6, queen to b6, and now queen to e7. Okay, so basically chess engines also like to tease each other. Queen e7, we have rook to e8, queen d7, rook d8, queen goes back. Knight f4, rook f2, keeping the tension on the board. And both the engines are not really getting an idea how to continue the possession. Both the engines are trying to make some rough moves in the possession. And eventually, Stockfish is now having a rook and the queen on the queen side, suddenly. The rook goes to a7, and you won't believe, still, like, there is some sort of, I don't know. Finally, we have a queen trade. And now we have d6 by Stockfish. And now this is actually winning according to the engine. Because, okay, material-wise the position is even, but this pawn is actually too strong. This knight is doing a good job defending these two pawns. And here we have king g8, and now we have rook to e7. Maybe sort of blocking the king? Though you could have still pushed the pawn. The king cannot really enter because you can make the queen and give a check. But maybe, okay, I analyzed a bit. Maybe rook d8, knight b3. You take the pawn, takes, bishop goes over here, bishop d2. With the idea of bishop a5, this is actually still winning. Bishop a5 check, king goes to g1. This is also still winning, but instead at the place of g7, first we have rook e7. Bishop goes to f7, and now we have d7. Knight goes to f4, we have one more minor piece trade, and now we have e5, which is an insane move. We have knight to e4. You cannot take the pawn, this is the whole point, because it's a check and black loses the rook. So basically we have king f8 and now knight c5. Basically bishop into c4, and this is still winning, which is extremely hard for humans to convert. Rook e4, bishop goes to f7, rook takes the pawn, we have a check, and now we have bishop d3. Bishop d3. You cannot capture the bishop because the rook is hanging, and actually now black is the one pressing. Okay, I don't know. Okay, I investigated bishop c2 a bit. Like, the bishop is not really hanging, because after bishop d3 what happened? Rook to e8. And now bishop to c4, because now if black tries to trade out this, white can capture the bishop, and this is a winning for white. So I decided, okay, what if black would have played bishop to c2? Then king e5 is completely winning because white king is just getting in. So we have bishop to d3, rook goes to e8, and now we have bishop to c4. Yeah, bishop to c4, rook takes, and now this is just winning. Okay, basically the engines can't resign, so they play till the end. It's mate in 5. Okay, so basically Stockfish made a queen, and now we have a mate on the move number 90. So you see how insane this chess can be if the top players, not the players, but the top engines play chess. There are some insane moves which are kind of out of the human world that happens in the game of 64 squares, which is completely insane. So I guess you have got an idea how insane can chess be. Like making some weird move which doesn't really make any sense, which is like some 220 IQ. I don't really know how to explain this to you guys. So yeah, this was the game, which was actually played today. So yeah, if you loved this particular game, make sure to tell me in the comment below. And if you want more games like these, like the games of engines, make sure to tell me in the comment below. And if you love the game, and if you're new to my channel, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to come up with these more interesting videos like this. So till then, stay tuned and keep watching Oneshot Chess, and bye bye.